Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our 2021 Annual Institute, Sustaining Healthy and Energy Efficient Buildings Through Technician Education. We are really happy that you're here. We're glad that you're here. This institute is different this year because it's all virtual. Normally we would be 45 people, 45 faculty members, and a few others, some union representatives, and some of our partner representatives, industry representatives at Laney College or at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. We'd be doing more hands-on labs. This time around, because of the conditions, we're virtual, and it's given us opportunities to bring more diverse speakers in. And of course, we've given up some of the other attributes that we would normally have, focusing heavily on pedagogy. I think that as you can see, the range of people here, college educators, building operations professionals, design and construction professionals, manufacturers and business representatives. We've designed and curated 2 days of sessions which will have appeal to everyone in this group. Even though our main focus is on buildings, commercial buildings, and technician education, and the changes that are affecting technician education and how we're going to respond to that, many of these sessions will have broader appeal. Some of them will be very specific to our college educator group. I'd like to start first by giving some thanks and allowing our co-PIs to introduce themselves. Do you want to start, Marianne?
Yes, good morning from Oakland, California. I am with Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'll be speaking a little bit more in this morning's introduction. So I am a senior scientist at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab and helping to run today's institute, and look forward to the 2-day event.
Brian?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm joining you today from Atlanta, specifically DeKalb County, which some of you might have heard in the news last night. I'm a PI, a co-PI, and have been since the center started in 2013, and I'm very happy to join you this morning and hope for a great institute for everyone.
Ted?
Morning, everybody. I'm Ted Walensky. Here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm an instructor at the Milwaukee Area Technical College and one of the co-PIs involved.
And Robert?
Good morning, everyone from Omaha, Nebraska. My name is Robert Nirenberg. I'm with Metropolitan Community College, and I've been working with the Best Center since, I think, 2014.
Thank you. And Larry, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm Larry Chang, manager of Best Center and one of the original founders of our enterprise since 2012.
And Melissa?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Melissa West. I'm the coordinator with the Best Center. I've been with the team for about 1.5 years, and I'm really excited for today's events.
And thank you to our support professionals, Kim Gonzalez, Vivian So, and Angela Quash. And a big shout out to Ream, our champion industry sponsor. And you can see some of our other industry sponsors and partners listed: Contemporary Controls, IFMA and IFMA Foundation, the Association of Controls Professionals, the Association for Facility Engineering, HVAC Excellence, and BOC NEEC. We also, in our expo hall. We have a number of projects and centers featured there with booths. Create Resource Center, Wake Technical College, which is a recent ATE funded project. South Seattle College, which is also ATE funded. Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, which was recently funded by ATE NSF. Valencia College, and Mentor Connect. Thank you all for your participation. Very briefly, what is the NSF ATE program and what is the Best Center? The National Science Foundation Advanced Technological Education Program supports community college technician education in advanced technical fields through projects and national centers in a wide range of fields. These projects and centers are developed in collaboration with business and industry partners. The BEST Center is an NSF-funded national center focused on technician education related to building science and HVAC, building automation systems, energy efficiency in buildings, and more broadly, sustainability. We will be having a session for those of you, especially our faculty participants who are new to NSF and ATE. We will have a special session this afternoon featuring the current national director or lead for NSF ATE, Celeste Carter, and Kathy Alfano and others. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but they're going to provide a much more detailed overview of ATE. The BEST Center has 3 goals: to build the instructional capacity of community colleges across the country in the field of high performance building technician education, to engage industry stakeholders in a national collaboration to support high quality instructional programs, and finally, to strengthen the national STEM pipeline. And one of our co-PIs, Brian Lovell, will be focusing a workshop this afternoon or sometime today around building the STEM pipeline. Our theme for this year is motivated by factors which seem to be converging. We are seeing a growing urgency to develop national strategies to mitigate climate change. We are in a place now where it has become very, very urgent to move from talking about what if scenarios to actually what are we going to do scenarios, and begin to really examine those scenarios to determine what the macroeconomic effects of moving forward will be. How do we deal with displaced industries? Some of these strategies suggest that solar energy, for example, will need to grow by 350% by 2030. All of this focused around getting to net zero carbon by 2050, which will allow us to stay below 2 degrees Celsius of warming. We already know what 1.1 degrees Celsius warming looks like, and it has not been a good experience. So we can only speculate what 2.0 Celsius would look like. So we know we have to move. The urgency has grown and grown. We can no longer delay. And we have several sessions today, which are today and tomorrow, which are really going to focus on the big picture, how we begin to change the conversation and take the step we need to. We also see a growing movement for healthy buildings. The building sector right now is deeply impacted by the current COVID pandemic. And the implications are uncertain. We do know that to get people back into their offices, they are going to need to feel safe. And likely, one recent analyst suggested that buildings will look more like a consumer product, that people will be much more attentive to the conditions in the buildings. And this has big implications for the building sector and the people that operate these buildings and the education of those people. So this is an important theme that we'll be looking at. Our keynote speaker later this morning, in fact, will be addressing the whole healthy buildings movement and its importance in productivity as well, which is a very, very important element. We're also seeing the need to implement new tools and techniques to manage buildings efficiently. And our speakers from Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory will be especially focused in that area. The growth and application of clean energy, we know we're going to be moving massively toward clean energy. And we have a presentation later tomorrow on that topic. There's a need for a national certification for building technical professionals, and we'll talk about that more in a session. And we need to stimulate new entrants into the building science and building operations field through the recruitment of non-traditional students, because there's a huge shortage nationally of technicians and individuals working in the industry. And we need to think about how to recruit them. We'll have several sessions focusing on that. And of course, we also are dealing with a situation as faculty where we have to have remote instruction. HVAC classes are probably one of the most difficult areas to teach remotely because of the equipment, the way in which students cluster around equipment to work with it. It's in my experience, it's the most challenging of all of our career and technical education programs to deal with remotely. So we'll be doing some sessions on that, a discussion session this afternoon with Robert Nirenberg and another session tomorrow. Just a few quick items in navigating the platform. There's a lobby and an auditorium, an expo hall, a lounge, and an information desk. The information desk will be staffed, both to help you navigate and also to provide technical assistance should you need it. The main sessions are webinars accessed through the program link in the auditorium. The late afternoon sessions are linked in the lounge. So you have to go to the lounge and you'll find the Zoom links for those sessions. The auditorium sessions are webinar formats. The Zoom sessions are Zoom sessions. So you will be able to see everyone and participate. There is a participant directory in the lounge, and you can request any participant to contact you by email. There is a video tutorial and FAQs accessible in the menu bar in each of these main rooms. And finally, there are booths in the expo hall with loads of materials, including documents and videos that you can download and put in your briefcase. And you can request contact with a representative in those booths. They may or may not be staffed at any given time. So I've mentioned many of these webinar sessions that we have already. You can see the carbon cycle, sector analysis, this national conversation that we need to begin on climate change mitigation, the changing landscape for commercial buildings, ventilation issues. We have several sessions on ventilation that are coming up right after this session. And tomorrow we'll be focusing a lot on advanced tools and technologies and strategies to retrofit and manage buildings. And we'll also update you on progress on the HPBOP certification. And finally, as we mentioned, we'll be looking at recruitment strategies in this vital industry and working on project-based learning remotely. And then finally, our interactive Zoom sessions. On day one, what is the NSF ATE program and how to get support for a successful proposal? That will really inform you on what ATE is and the amazing opportunities that it presents. Healthy buildings. This is going to be a critical session for our industry people and our building operations professionals. This will be led by an IFMA board member, and it should be very interesting. And finally, a project-based learning discussion. And do you know where your video is posted, Robert?
I do. Larry actually sent out a link to it on Tuesday morning.
Okay.
So everybody who is signed up should have that, and I will find a link and put it in the chat now.
So, and Robert will also share that this afternoon. And he's asking that you view that video before the remote learning session tomorrow. And on day two, we'll have 3 additional chat sessions through Zoom. One talking about open educational resources, remote learning strategies, and finally, healthy buildings, looking more at the ventilation side. And with that, Marianne, do you want to close us out?
Thanks, Peter. Just have a few comments. I wanted to offer my welcome from Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. We are one of 17 national labs. We sit right above the UC Berkeley campus. And we were founded in 1931 by a physicist named Ernest Orlando Lawrence, who was the inventor of the cyclotron, and our history is in physics, but we're a multi-purpose lab with 3,800 people, almost 4,000 employees. The national labs serve the Department of Energy as well as other agencies and regional institutions as well. And we conduct research to help create clean, affordable, and reliable energy technologies, both on the demand side and on the supply side. What is remarkable for the buildings industry is the number of challenges that we are having in our society. And I want to give you a quick overview of some of the reasons we need this kind of certification training for HVAC technicians. As a national lab that conducts research on building technologies, there's a lot of interest in creating very advanced controls and information technologies that are really challenging the IT infrastructure of how we operate buildings. Peter mentioned things like COVID and understanding the way we might ventilate the building during a virus pandemic. We might operate it very differently under a smoke event. And here in California, we were actually operating our buildings for COVID one day, and then, oh gosh, we need to change them to a smoke control. And in talking with some of our facilities people yesterday, we found that we had put them in smoke control and left them that way. Now, smoke control is going to bring in less outside air, and COVID control is going to bring in more outside air. So we are really challenged by adding more sensors and more information technologies to really understand what's the building doing. At the same time, we want to understand the energy use of the building. We may also have a public safety power shutoff here in California, in which the building is going to lose power. So some buildings will go on backup mode. And our own lab was trying to decide how many megawatts of backup generators they needed to prepare for the power shutoff. And in doing so, they realized that the first thing they should do before sizing the backup system was to see if they could put the buildings into a low power mode, like a demand response mode or a demand flexibility mode. So all of these new modes are really changing the way we think about building controls and HVAC being some of the most important loads, and the loads that we typically can control. The lighting is often controlled, or maybe not, and the plug loads are very difficult to control. So this type of training that's being offered by this program is so important. And I want to thank Peter Crabtree and Larry Chang and all the other PIs for their leadership. This has been a phenomenal opportunity for us to collaborate to try to create curriculum that helps us ensure that the technicians of the future will be able to understand the complexity in energy consumption and carbon mitigation activities and all of these new requirements for building controls. And we're really excited for today's event and hope to see you in person in the future next year back at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab.
Thank you, everyone. I think that concludes our introductory session, and we'll see you in our keynote speaker